Hi, welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 113. Tesla held maybe the biggest party in the world at their monster factory. Volkswagen planned to shrink in size and no longer be the people's car. And Elon Musk bought a 9.2% stake in Twitter. And Rivian is outpacing GM in production of EVs. And BYD will stop making ICE cars. And Skoda says electrification is the clear way forward, as ICE sales continues to drop and BEVs continues to rise. But there might be some trouble ahead for the German car industry, including Tesla and their new Berlin factory. All this and much more on today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
So the alien dreadnought has landed. The world's biggest factory in volume is officially opened and has started deliveries. Oh boy. Tesla had their Cyber Rodeo party this Thursday and started off by having drones flying around in the shape of Nikola Tesla, then the Tesla cars, and not to forget the Dogecoin dog. And Elon then arrived on stage in the first ever Roadster build. And if you didn't see the event, I will leave a link to it down below. You must go check it out. It's a must see because this is a historical moment. As Elon said on stage, this is the most advanced car factory the world has ever seen. It has the highest production capacity line in the world. Raw material in, a bunch of stuff happens, and car out the other end. And he said they are aiming for 500,000 Model Y in production a year, and that the factory have a capacity of 1 million plus production when ramped. Yeah, I think that's going to be a big plus there. And Tesla wants to get to 20% of the overall car market, or whatever they can, to make a dent, to make sure we are moving towards a sustainable transportation. And over time it will become the biggest battery cell factory in the world. This factory is nuts. Nothing legacy autos can build can match this. As Elon again pointed out, the factory is the product. Just look at this map of the factory. That little corner there in the top right, that is going to be the biggest battery facility in the world. No other battery manufacturer can keep up with this corner of the factory. And he did of course ensure us that the semi-truck, the Cybertruck, the Roadster are all coming out in 2023. But as he said, sorry about the delay, it has been a couple of busy years to say the least, but it is worth the wait. Oh yes. But he did also said that they have a dedicated robo-taxi, which will look very futuristic. Oh, can't wait to see that one. And Tesla might start production of their first version of the Tesla robot already next year. And this might even change what an economy even means. Oh boy, the future for Tesla looks so bright we need shades. And if this factory is just a statement from Tesla, if the other OEMs even understand what this factory is and will do, it should send shock waves through the entire industry. But the most important information about the factory is, of course,
I'm glad you asked that question. According to our calculations, you could fit 194 billion hamsters in this building.
And a quick word from today's sponsor, Endel. Endel is an environment-based non-profit app that takes everything we know about sound and the minds and combines that with cutting-edge technology. The result is a real-time personalized soundscape designed to help you relax, focus, or sleep. Endel is informed by science, created with science, and backed up by science. So whether you want to boost your productivity or calm your mind or help yourself fall asleep, Endel can do just that. I personally use it when I need to focus on a task because I personally don't use music because I find that more distraction. I always end up singing along with the song, but just sounds that helps my mind into a more focused state. Now that is much more my cup of tea. And also between work during the day, because I am a former top 5 freediver in the world and I use breathing exercises every day anyway to de-stress myself. And then Endel's soundscapes are just perfect for relaxing the mind, and my mind can just escape into this soundscape and calm down even quicker. I really enjoy that together with my breathing exercises. But Endel will actually take this a step further for the car industry as well, because Endel partnered with the group research of Mercedes-Benz AG to test a potential introduction of a one-of-a-kind AI-powered Endel car experience to keep drivers alert and calm. Now that is not a bad idea. On a drive, Endel's AI will generate an appropriate sound environment by analyzing various external inputs such as speed, driving style, weather, road type, as well as heart rate and other personal metrics synced from the individual's Endel phone or watch app. That actually became the Apple Watch app of the year in 2020. That also makes it very simple to use even from your wrist. So if you feel like you could use some help to either calm yourself, boost your productivity, or maybe need some help winding down and falling asleep, well, Endel has even collaborated with musician James Blake and his smooth sound to help you wind down. So, go to my custom link down in the description. The first 100 persons to download Endel with my custom link will get a free week of audio experience. Enjoy! And the car market continues to fall while the EV market continues to rise. In France, the car market, as in most places, was down, and the EV market, as in most places, was up in March. Plug-in was 21.4% market share. BEV shares was 13.5%, representing a growth of 59% compared to March 2021. And plug-in hybrids only grew 4%, so that was nice to see. BEV growing and stupid hybrids not so much. And diesel reached a record low, so that was nice as well. And we see the same thing happening in Sweden. The car market was down 31.5% and the BEVs was up 285% in March. And in Australia, the pricing of the Model Y has been shared to customers according to Chasing Cars, and the price should be the Model Y single motor rear wheel drive, almost 68,000 Australian dollars including taxes, and the Model Y Performance all-wheel drive 98,000 Australian dollars including taxes. But the sales in Australia of the expensive Model Y will be just fine, because we already have the Model 3 down under, and that is so dominating it's not even funny. Here is the top 16 list of the best-selling EVs in Australia, and the Model 3 sold in Q1 almost 14 times more than number 2. You can combine the rest of this list of the 15 best-selling EVs in Australia in Q1, and they will still only have sold half of what Tesla's Model 3 has done. This is nuts. Yeah, the short sellers keep talking about the competition is coming, but I just don't see it. And the price of the Model Y in Australia is pretty much on par with the Danish prices. It actually might be a little bit lower, but if people think it's too expensive, that will never sell very well. Well, remember, here in Denmark, with at least the same price, the Model Y was the best-selling car of any kind in March, even beating much cheaper cars like the Hyundai i10. I don't even think you have that little car in the US. And the story is the same in the UK, where the Model Y was the best-selling car of any kind, and number 2 was the Tesla Model 3. Very impressive. And even year to date in the UK, the Model Y and the Model 3 were number 6 and 7 best-selling car of any kind. All of this before the ramp of the Berlin factory. and Tesla market share in the UK is actually about double that here in Q1 compared to Q1 last year. And we can see that BEV just overtook diesel in the UK in the new car sales in March as well. And we can see that the petrol cars has been going down ever since January 2020. So it will be exciting to see when that green line will cross the yellow line. My bet, well, sometime in 2024 maybe? What's your bet? Because Norway did get over 90% plug-in market share in March and BEVs was 86%. And here you can see how the different types have been taken over through the last 10 years, from basically nothing to basically everything in just 10 years. But remember, Norway was the first movers, but not the fastest movers. Pretty much every other country in Europe right now, like Germany here, has a much faster EV adoption than Norway's very linear adoption. Europe's adoption right now is pretty much just straight up. But even though it looks good with the rise of EVs in Europe, well, the German car manufacturers might be in some trouble, including Tesla and their new factory. Because even though the plug-in market grew and took over 25% of the market share in Germany, there might be some trouble heading Germans' way, because the decision has been made, or at least announced by some European governments, including Germany, to drastically cut energy import from Russia. And Germany gets like 50% of their natural gas from Russia. So there is a risk of a major disruption to the German manufacturing economy, since there is no viable substitute gas supplier who can quickly make up for the difference. And Tesla's Berlin factory also gets the majority of its energy from gas, so this could be a big problem for the German car industry, including Tesla. So something we need to keep an eye on and see what the outcome will be. But yet another shortage hitting the car industry. It ain't easy being an OEM these days, but hopefully this could also put a fire under the industry to get more energy from renewables. And Volkswagen is in doubt that their EVs will be as profitable as their ICE cars anytime soon. The Volkswagen's brand's CEO says they are not adding new capacity for their EVs, but rather converting factories one by one, and because of the rising prices of raw materials for batteries, he admits that their calculation that their EVs would soon be as profitable for Volkswagen as their combustion engine model has been thrown into doubt, because these $50,000 nickel prices per ton were not basically priced in, because they expected, hopefully, the war would soon end and the raw material prices would at least go a little bit more back down. Probably not, since the demand of these materials will only go up. So because Volkswagen has not made a lot of deals with mining companies like Tesla has, these rising prices have a tremendous effect on their bottom line. And because Volkswagen has a much worse efficiency of their electric vehicles like someone like Tesla has, they are forced to use nickel cathodes for all their batteries, or their range will be even worse than they already is. Remember, last year Tesla's battery were about 56% LFP batteries, not nickel batteries, because Tesla use LFP batteries for their standard range cars. Legacy autos don't do that. So their low-range EVs are still packed with the more expensive nickel cathode batteries. And I don't think someone like Volkswagen will be able to just switch the chemistry in their batteries, because that will probably take years for them to make such a change, where Tesla already uses different kind of chemistry in their batteries, just as they told us they would do with their new 4680 cell batteries as well. But every legacy automaker is stuck with their expensive nickel batteries, and that makes rising prices in raw materials double trouble, because they have not made a long-term deals with the mining companies for nickel, and they are pretty much stuck with nickel for now. So that is a much bigger problem that people might realize. But we also know that Volkswagen is building a new factory for their Trinity platform because they could see they would never be able to catch up with Tesla's production speed by only retooling their old factories, as they saw with their Zwickau factory. But Volkswagen seems to have no other plans for any more new factories, but will only retool old factories. So their plan is to have one new factory in 2026. And that's it so far. And they have over 136 factories worldwide. And by 2026 they will have one new EV factory. How they can even think they will have a chance to keep up with Tesla is beyond my understanding. They said it themselves. They will build a new plant to fight Tesla's factory in Grünheide because they know they cannot be as efficient with the old factories, and they need to make their cars with gigacasting, as they have also said themselves. So again, they know this and talk about it, but their action is quite the opposite. The plan is for one new factory 4 years' time. Yeah, it's not looking good. But then it's a good thing that Volkswagen don't plan for growth, but plan to shrink in size. Yep, Volkswagen had just said, we are more focused on quality and margins rather than volume and market share. Probably a good idea, since they are shrinking year over year. So Volkswagen will no longer be the people's car, as they have been known for, but focus more on the premium vehicles, like Porsche and Audi. And as Volkswagen said, they would reduce its lineup of petrol and diesel cars, which consist of at least 100 models across several brands, by 60% in Europe over the next 8 years. But yes, of course, that will happen all on its own. ICE cars are going to disappear. So for Volkswagen to think they will have 40% ICE vehicles in 2030 here in Europe is still a bit scary to me. So Volkswagen is basically saying, we plan to shrink and sell less ICE cars. No shit, Sherlock. That will happen whether you say it's the plan or not. But nice move. Now when Volkswagen shrink in size and their ICE sales collapse, they can just go out and say, look, just as we planned. And Elon has taken a 9.2% stake in Twitter. So Elon is now the platform's biggest shareholder after hinting last week he might shake up the social media industry. Elon bought 73 million shares of Twitter. Yep, Elon never just says stuff like this and not back it up by action, because only days after we learned about Elon's big purchase of the Twitter stock, Twitter CEO announced that Elon would join the Twitter board member. As Twitter's CEO wrote, he's both a passionate believer and intense critic of the service, which is exactly what we need on Twitter and in the boardroom to make us stronger in long term. Welcome, Elon. And Twitter stock jumped quite a bit on this news. Yep, Elon Musk will now help make Twitter better, which is much needed, and fight for free speech. No, he's not doing this because he's trying to make more money. Elon has all the money he will ever need. But as all Elon does, it is because he wants to try to make the future for humanity good. He probably wants Twitter to become a platform for free speech. As he also tweeted, freedom of speech is essential to a functional democracy. So I think it is pretty clear what Elon wants to do here, but one thing is for sure, it is not to try to make more wealth, but to make the future good. But the Washington Post had a headline that Elon's investment in Twitter could be bad news for the free speech. Really? Come on, Jeff Bezos. I know you don't like Elon and own the Washington Post, but this is just low journalism even for you. And let's squeeze in last short news topics into this new show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. Homer's Catalog wrote on Twitter, Elon Musk, please ensure an emergency fix on the bug that turns the volume up all the way on Bluetooth. You are damaging users' hearing. The volume should never go from silence to 100%. And Elon responded, first I've learned of this, will be patched shortly. Man, you gotta love Tesla. No other CEO would do this and be able to get this through straight away. Jeff Bezos and Amazon want to make a satellite internet like Starlink, but refuses to use SpaceX rocket to launch them, of course. So that means that Amazon will have to pay about double the price to get satellites in orbit than SpaceX does. Good thing Amazon have a lot of money, because their satellite internet is going to be a lot more expensive than Starlink to build and maintain. General Motors and Honda plan to jointly develop a new line of affordable electric vehicles. Seems like GM is desperately trying to find someone to make electric cars with. Nikola didn't work out great, Lordstown didn't work out great, so now they're trying Honda, whose sales have been dropping quite a bit over the last couple of years in the US. But the first of these vehicles, which likely would be priced below $30,000 in the US, won't be ready until 2027. So let's see if both of these companies are still alive and kicking at that point before we get too excited about this project. But speaking of GM, they will begin the production of the BrightDrop Zero utility van in December, the automaker confirmed this week. The plant should be able to produce up to 30,000 vehicles annually between the BrightDrop Zero 600 and the smaller BrightDrop Zero 400. So another 2 EV models from GM with low volume. And Rivian produced 2,553 vehicles in Q1, so that was not too bad, especially if we compare those numbers with the leader of the EV race, GM. Rivian actually produced 5 times more EVs in Q1 than GM. GM can't even keep up with Rivian in EV production. What a joke. But Rivian only delivered 1,227 units though, so it seems like they are still struggling a bit with the logistic of getting cars out to customers. And I think the production in Berlin is on track. As Elon wrote on Twitter, Berlin rocks. He usually don't do that unless they're doing some great work. And Mercedes-Benz branches and dealership will reduce the space to display and sell vehicles by 20% in the next few years. By the end of the year, 38 online stores are to be created. I hope this is because they count an online store for every country they are in, or else that does not make a lot of sense. And BYD will stop making ICE cars, so that is awesome news. Unfortunately, they still will be making stupid plug-in hybrids, but nice to see them ditching the ICE car altogether. One that does not want to make hybrids anymore is Skoda. As Skoda's Swedish chief said, Skoda invest heavily in electric cars but avoid both plug-in hybrids and hydrogen cars and synthetic fuel. There is nothing more responsible than batteries. Exactly, and batteries can be recycled. And he continued, charging hybrids is a very expensive way to reduce CO2 emission and consumption, because technically 2 systems are needed in the car. Electrification is a clear way forward for Skoda, not because of the pressure from EU, but because we really believe in it. And Jay for Shanghai shared a picture on Twitter of Li Auto's upcoming L9 full-size smart SUV. Yes, they get what the Chinese people want. But wait, you can also get this one instead. Yeah, it got, cup holders and stuff. Nope, it can't play any games or karaoke or watch YouTube or Netflix or any of that smart stuff that the Chinese people really like. But no, the L9 is not a fully BEV, but only a hybrid, so that kind of sucks. But I just wanted to show this because it is a good showcase of what people in China want, and the Chinese OEM are making it for them, and what someone like Volkswagen have made. 2 very different worlds. And NASA contracts Canoe to build EVs that will transport astronauts to the launch pad for the Artemis missions. So I hope Canoe will be able to get off the ground to actually make these cars for NASA. So the Model 3 Performance with unplugged performance bolt-on beats the Porsche 911 GT2 RS times around the Button Willow racetrack. This is really a testimony to Tesla's performance, as Unplugged CEO Ben Schafter said. So is the 1 minute and 49 seconds lap apple to apple with the latest spec 911 GT2 RS lap of 1 minute and 50 seconds? Of course not. It can't be summed up that simply. Valid arguments can be had on both sides. The crazy thing though is a debate can be had comparing a Model 3 without bolts on versus the ultimate price is no object track-focused weapon from Porsche, the $400,000 plus 911 GT2 RS. The debate can be had because if you put both of these on the track and drive them both flat out, you will have an improbable and close race. Yep, that is crazy. And Simo shared a picture on Twitter that shows how much energy comes to Earth from the sun, and Elon replied, "The power used by human is so tiny compared to how much power from the sun reaches Earth. Solar power is 1 gigawatt per square kilometers. At current solar efficiency, net electricity power is 200 megawatt per square kilometers. The United States can be powered by a small corner of Texas." I really hope Elon does this one day. Just build that solar plant in the corner of Texas and power the entire United States. But Elon also tweeted, Spain should build a massive solar array, could power all of Europe. But that got attention of the Spanish Prime Minister that invited Elon to visit the country. "We are already implementing most ambitious plan towards efficient and sustainable energy system, all sectors on board, maximizing opportunities, digitalization and value chain for a long-lasting success. Time is now, let's get it right, come and see. We welcome investors to Spain." Oh yes, I hope Elon would take that invitation and go talk to him and do what he did in Australia with the big battery in Hornsdale after he tweeted about that. But just help build out a big solar farm that can power all of Europe instead. That would be so cool. And Volkswagen stopped production in Wolfsburg because of unexpected bomb from the World War II was found on Tuesday during the construction work on the loading line at the Volkswagen plant in Wolfsburg. Now that is unfair for Volkswagen. They have a lot of trouble already, and now there will be even more shutdowns because of old bombs. Not fair. And the Biden administration will hold a meeting, and this time Elon is invited. Nice. And in the meeting they will discuss US funding to create a national network of 500,000 chargers. The administration said in a statement there was broad consensus that charging stations and vehicles need to be interoperable and provide a seamless user experience no matter what car you drive or where you charge your EV. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my newest patrons and member of this YouTube channel. Andy Hamilton, Darren Rea, Björn Johnson, Armin Vervek, Barry Gale. And I thank you for watching, members. Douglas Rusbrook. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are the producers of this new show. Thank you. And a big and special thanks to Supporter of the Week. And this week's winner is Bruce Kirkpatrick. Bruce has been a cyber patron of mine for over 4 months now. Actually, beyond cyber. Thank you so much, Bruce, for your generous support. I am blown away. I will contact you on Patreon. In the meantime, go in and check the merch store which t-shirt or mug you would like. And let's end off with a bit of fun. And let's have a little laugh on behalf of the short sellers. Sorry guys, but it is so fun looking back. Here's a little tweet from less than 3 years ago. This is not a growth stock. It is a money-losing car company with no path to profitability. It will lose money in every single quarter until bankruptcy. It will never exceed Q4 of 2018 revenue. You've been tricked. Sorry about that. Well, they kind of grew a little bit there, Dean. Went up from $7 billion in revenue in Q4 of 18 to $17 billion in Q4 2021. And the net income grew more than 16x. And the stock is up a modest 1,800% since your tweet. If this is not a growth stock, I don't know what is. The only one that got tricked was the people who believed Dean. Sorry about that. That is all we have time for in this new show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel and get your shout out on this show. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out and some extra perks. Hit the members button to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I tweet all the news as it comes out and more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. Now it's also possible to support the show without buying anything, becoming a member or a patron. There is a link to donation options in the show notes. But going forward, I will be making more videos for patrons and members only. And I will give my YouTube members and patrons early access to my videos whenever possible and make my videos ads free for members and patrons only. So don't miss out. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.